First, this evening, thank you for traveling up here. We have had a number of conversations. I'm gonna pass it off to our guests momentarily, but I want to just provide a little bit of an introduction from my perspective. So, the Clinton County Supervisors Association has been fortunate to have you come and speak with them. A number of the other municipalities in Clinton County have received this presentation, and as I said before, next time that I was back in the area, we would have him do a more formal presentation. And what interests me most about having a dialogue on this particular topic is going to the Association of Towns conference, that this has been endorsed by the Association of Towns and NICOM, and really that, I think, lends a certain level of credibility well beyond some of the other, things that we get from time to time. It's not someone just doing a cold call. And I can tell you that many of the other town supervisors are engaging in conversations with their boards. So I don't think that we would be the first nor the last if we were to go on that. So with that, I will pass it right over to you.
Are you going to introduce him?
Yeah, that's where I was going next time.
You're ahead of the curve, Tom. My.
Not very rarely.
So I'll let you bring it in.
Thank you for having me up here. My name is Edward Carey, and I work for a company called Good Energy, and we run NIMEP, and NIMEP is the New York Municipal Energy Program, as the supervisor stated. This is 100%, it's basically 50-50. It's been supported came together basically by AOT and NICOM, and they formed NIMEP, and they went around the state and they said, who's the largest company that actually does this in the U.S.? That is us. We are just over 100 person firm. We're based headquarters out of New York City. We have 5 offices. We're in Boston, New York City, Peoria, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, and California. Just wanted to, I sent this to you on electronic. Did the other?
I provided to them, but they may not have printed it. So if you want to do a hard copy,
This is
going
what
to
I
save
have, have my presentation.
Thank you.
Can you give Debbie one as well?
I'll pass it out for you.
Oh,
he has it.
oh.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And I have some other information also for you guys.
I have one, so I'll save you the print and I'll just.
Yeah, there's extras, but I can share.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have this electronically too, so I can.
Oh, that's fine, that's great, because I can do that too. Sure.
And I'll save you one of that. I know how to track you down. Say that again?
No, thank you, PowerPoint, which is on line.
And again, these are, I have a whole bunch of stuff, so I apologize for inundating with a lot of stuff and then go to your fireplace.
Energy.
Oh my goodness. A lot of hands
I got more, but like I can send it to you electronically.
We don't have energy for old people?
Huh? Here's a,
Energy for old people.
so yeah, I've been giving this presentation literally from the tip of Montauk to Buffalo to here to New York City, name. I think a bunch of us have always gone to these different municipal conferences. Chuck Schumer gets up there and says how he's been to all 61 counties. I think I'm literally right behind him. I think I've hit it all also.
Wow.
Yeah, I've given this probably over 150 municipalities so far, so it's been fun. You get to really see New York and what it's all about and how it ticks. And with that, we've gotten a tremendous amount of feedback saying, what is CCA? Everyone has been sort of inundated with all these harassing phone calls from these different energy companies saying, oh, we can save you money and stuff like that. Some can do it, some can't. Travel around the country with my job, you see different energy companies obviously, move in different ways. There's probably, I would guess, probably like 150 ESCO energy service companies out there that do this type of business, I'm in this business, I would trust about 50 of them, maybe, 60. I literally cut it in half of, some of the most distrusted companies out there, the general public, which like, they don't like, pharmaceutical, energy, and government. And, I'm in that thing. So our thing is to go out there and win
Two of the three.
Huh? Yeah.
Two of the That's why one person is here.
So we go out and we try to, win the public's confidence. We've been doing this I've been doing this for my entire life. I've been in the energy business. My family had a large energy company. And then when I worked for the city, I worked for the city of New York during purchasing for them. I was in the Giuliani and the Bloomberg administration doing energy purchasing. And then from there, I was working for Emirata Hess. And they were basically my biggest supplier to the city. And then they hired me and I worked for them. And then I joined Good Energy about 14 years ago. And Good Energy, we do very large real estate, Jones Lang LaSalle, Tishman, big box stores, Lord and Taylor, it's a big company, and we go after big real estate. Back probably over 10 years ago, then we got involved with municipalities, and we started with Edison, New Jersey. And we did a very good job with that. Edison, New Jersey was very happy with us. Then they introduced us to the Education Service Commission of New Jersey. That's the largest purchasing group for the state of New Jersey. So there's 21 counties, 563 townships, and we took on about 300 municipalities in the state of New Jersey, just on the municipal side, their infrastructure, jails, wastewater treatment plants, that type of stuff. Did a phenomenal job, probably got a savings of over, $25 million or so, did a very good job actually. And then we started moving west with government, we went into Illinois. Again, picked up another 400 plus municipalities, Springfield, Aurora, all the big municipalities in the state of Illinois. And that's where we were introduced to community choice irrigation. It really started in California, but we got introduced to in Illinois on this. And when we got involved in the state of Illinois, about 15% of the state was buying their energy in this type of capacity. Since we've been there today, 97% of the state of Illinois now buys their energy in this type of fashion. So, and we brought over $150 million in savings into that state. That put out a massive light bulb that went out there and said, all right, this program really does work. So it started to trend throughout the United States. New York State is the 7th state to have now picked this up, and it really came through Audrey Zibelman. Audrey Zibelman was the Public Service Commission back then, and she actually sought us out. She came down to our office in Manhattan and said, had this work, Cuomo is now interested, let's see what's going on. We brought it to her attention, and then we were the lead advisor for the state doing a pilot program in Westchester County. So Westchester County has a program currently going on right now called Sustainable Westchester, of which we were, again, the head advisor to. That became extremely successful, and I would say over $15 million has gone into Westchester County. About 127,000 people in Westchester County participate in this. In Illinois, we're about over probably 1.8 million, collectively around the we have over 2 million customers doing this currently right now. So you are not a guinea pig to us whatsoever. We are very trained on how to do this. Other companies that are registered in the state, they've never done a deal. None of them. We're the only ones. So with that, and then there's about 3 of us that are registered with the Public Service Commission, of which we are, again, being endorsed by AOT and NICOM, knowing that we have the strongest background to move this forward. So during that time period with Westchester County, Dutchess County said, we want this deal also. And they started really lobbying Albany, saying, we want this to come into Dutchess County. No, it's a pilot program, wait. And they said, this is garbage. We're New York State citizens just like them. And that's when Father Cuomo let it said last year, the statewide order said everyone can do that, can now do this. Exact same time period, the Public Service Commission orders in, she quit. She now is the head of Department of Energy for Australia, and they brought in John Rhodes. He ran NYSERDA. John Rhodes now runs Perry, and one of his number one things when he first started community choice segregation, he wanted this to move this forward. So once we got that endorsement and we got the approval from Albany, we've been going around the state moving this forward. And again, as the supervisor was stating, everyone is looking at this. Syracuse is moving forward on this. Buffalo is moving forward on this. All the surrounding communities around all these large municipalities are doing this. I'm here to really just to do one thing, and then obviously come back up is, I want to do just want to do a proposal to you guys, that's all. This is basically, I've come here, I'll talk about the program, and what you have to do as council and as super is you have to pass a local law. I cannot move forward without the local law here. Again, I have it electronically, your municipal attorney will get it and we'll get to chop it up wherever. Is that the municipal attorney?
Yep.
Okay, so you get a fresh copy and you'll get a hard copy.
All right.
And you can, however you would like to do that, we'd like to having this, the local law put on the books, and then once we get that, we submit that to the Secretary of State and also to the utility. We get the load data back from the utility, and then we can see what we can do here. Obviously, what we want to do here is there's two different programs I'm going to talk about. One is for the MSLA and one is for CCA. The CCA program I can do in about a week. So the municipal program I can do in a week. The CCA program takes several months. It takes about 5 months to really get off the ground. It moves like a turtle. So we have to get the information, shape it, and then put it out to bid and see where the numbers come in. We will not do a deal with you if we get like a 5% savings. We are very brand conscious of our company. In AOT and in NICAP, as the supervisor was stating, are extremely brand conscious. They've sat us in a room and they've said to us multiple times, this has got to work. Like we're not going to do any, there's not going to be a risk situation here. It's got to be, we're trying to get in that 8%, 12% range where we can get to proven savings, and then, obviously expand the program, and then obviously try to get a renewal on this. In the state of Illinois, when we got involved there, we had savings of 30%. I don't think that's going to happen, but we're trying to get in that close to that 10% savings. You have to think of this as like any other type of purchase you're doing. Currently, I'm assuming you use NIMER as your insurance. Okay, it's identical. NIMER is controlled by AOT and NICOM. Same as this. This is controlled by AOT and NICOM. You're doing a bulk purchase. You're coming together with other municipalities, and you're going out and you're buying energy. When we go forward, how the program works is I come up here, I have to give a public hearing, the public has to comment on that and stuff like that. We pass it, we start to move forward. Again, the Public Service Commission looks at us like a hawk. There's only 3 people in the state that are doing this. They really are scrutinizing how we operate. And so our biggest thing is we have to inform the public. So every single resident in your community will receive one of these programs in the mail stating exactly what the program is. We will be advertising in your local print. We will be going on your local radio. We will be going on your local cable. And every single person is going to know about this. We'll also there's going to be on your municipal web page, there will be a link describing the program. There's an 800. We have a call center that they can have any informed. I'm going to literally put my business card in the local paper. Anybody has any single question, they can call, and we will inform. Going back to everyone's getting these harassing phone calls and stuff like that. As an individual, the average home is between 1,000 and 3,000 square feet of buying power. It's not much. Deregulation has been around for 20 plus years in the state of New York, and businesses have done tremendous. I guarantee you, all these businesses, they're on a contract of some sort. The township is on a contract on some sort, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're benefiting. An individual household, the savings are pretty minimal because the square footage is minimal and the energy is pretty minimal. So about 80% of private business in the state of New York participate in deregulation of some sort, and it's part of their general operating costs is that they have to know what their energy costs are. It's 180 degrees with residential. Only about 10 to 15% of the state actually do to go out and buy power on for their home. And who's actually chasing residential? It's like C and D rated companies are going after between 1,000 and 3,000 degrees of buying power. Aggregated together, you're now looking at a buying power of like 5 million. And those are serious numbers. And you're gonna have some of the largest energy companies literally in the world come here and knock on your door saying, we're interested in that. We see that as, that's an acquisition to them. I mean, they're gonna look at that power as being 20 to 30 million kWh power. I mean, you have to think of, I'm guessing in this area, so one of these power plants right here, they're probably operating at 2 to 4 million kWh power. All the residents in this area is probably 20 to 25 million. You'll have companies, literally EDF, like Electric Front, they're going to be bidding on, J. Aaron's going to be bidding on, Constellation. The biggest companies are going to take a look at it. Going back, when I was stating about the residents, when they get these phone calls and they go out and they shop their power, the salesperson says, well, what do you want to do? You want to do it for 12 months, 24 months? How long do you want to go for? And you sort of strike a spot and saying, well, I paid I paid 10 cents here, now I'm going to get it 8 cents, I signed a 24-month card. And no one reads the fine print. So within 3 months, for whatever reason, that price doubles. And now you look at, you get burned, so you're like, well, I want to get out of the contract. Sure. Like, let's rip up that contract, we're out. Guess what? There's a penalty associated with that contract. You break that contract, you broke their contract, they're going to penalize you. This program here, there is no contract. Not a single resident gets a contract. I don't have a contract with anyone. There is no contract. What we're trying to do is, obviously, here's utility rate, get under that utility, and everyone stays in. It's a default system. If you do not like this program, you have absolutely, at any time, pick up the phone, email and say, I want out, and you're out. There is no contract, so there is no penalty. I can't say, because you left, I can now penalize you. I can't do that. That's how we run all these bids. So it's basically, what we see from sort of the general public is, from time to time, people ask us, like, you're forcing us to do this. Again, I'm not forcing you to do anything. The reason I can't force it, because I don't have a contract. What this is a municipally endorsed program where it takes in that, once everything is passed, you have 30 days for an opt-out program and saying, I'm Joe Smith and I live on Maple Street, I'm out, you don't go into the program. Once after the 30 days is expired, they're in the program, and again, at any time, they say, they want out, they're out. People who come to us and say, I want automatically out, I want to have nothing to do with this. And you're like, okay, you're out. Within 6 months, they talk to their next door neighbor, they find out that they're in, it's like a boomerang, they left, and then they come back, and they come back in there. Anyone who, again, anyone who exits the program or enters at any time period, during that time period, we will bring in. And we usually only see about 5 to 8% movement. Again, the loads are small individually, but as a whole, it's big. This will also, we've seen in the savings, this will act as a stimulus program to your community, each of which we're trying to get in that range per household. Is we're looking at $125 and maybe $200 per household in the savings. Times that by your 12,000 residents, those are significant dollars. That's going to come back through your gas station, bar, barbershops, whatever it is.
Say that again?
The savings will probably, we're going to try to get between $150 to maybe $200 in savings per household. Times that by all of your residents.
Can you do it per month?
No.
Concerned.
So, and it's, people who are on contract, I'll never receive their information. Utility will not give me that. So if the small percentage of your residents are actually buying power through, ESCO, like a Meridian or one of these other things, like, we don't even receive any of their information.
Tell me this, I'm just curious as to how it works. Most people here probably have, you're talking about electrical power?
Electricity or natural gas, we as well.
Okay. And most people here, I assume, get it through probably New York State Electric and Gas?
Yep.
Now, how do you, say, interface with that? I mean, what's
The utility, because New York State is a deregulated state, the utility makes absolutely zero Zero profit on the supply. When you look at your utility bill, you're looking at three components. The transportation, the distribution, and the supply. I'm only talking about the supply portion. So if some knucklehead goes down the street and smashes into a telephone pole, that's their equipment. They own that. That's all, they own the wires, they own the pipe in the ground, that's all their infrastructure. What's inside that wire, what's inside that pipe belongs to you. So we're only talking about the supply portion.
But how does that affect NYSEG?
How does it affect it? What do you mean?
I think it goes to your question about interfacing, or?
I'm just wondering,
They encourage it. I mean, the utilities love it.
okay, so you're able to secure the, say, gas or electricity at a lower price in NYSEG?
Well, they're buying on the spot market. They're not allowed to give you a fixed cost. New York City is a deregulated state. So that price goes peaks and valleys every single month.
Market.
Huh?
Fluctuate with the market.
Yeah. So it's like a utility is not allowed to give you a fixed price. Companies that are going to be bidding on this, what I was saying before, if you do your home individually, you'll get 20 bids. I'm only going to be able to probably collect 5 companies for this. I mean, the numbers are so big that when we go out, because the laws, when we go out, we hedge this power, we're talking about something $50, $60 million worth of power. The law states that I have to have double the amount of money in the bank to do that hedge. So we're going to go to the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, we're going to go to the New York Mercantile Exchange, and we're going to hedge that power. We have to have in the bank over $150 million to do that transaction. There's not too many companies that have that cash. So when we do come here, it's not like I'm not bringing, 10 companies and the lowest bidder wins. It's like, I'm bringing companies that have massive financial capabilities to do this.
How long is the price fixed for?
It depends. Once we get the data, we're gonna go out and look and say, okay, maybe 13 months is good. Maybe 19 months is good. I know where the price of power is. I have a pretty good idea. It's like 30 months. After that, it gets a little cloudy. Like I've done deals that are 60 months. It's 5 years. That's total risk. As government, I don't think you're allowed to do that. I think what's your longest contract you're allowed to give is 36 months.
It's something like that.
Yeah, that's usually standard. Is government is 36 months. Traditionally, most people, there's not much exposure. I mean, they're short-term contracts. I mean, most people do between a 16 and a 24-month contract.
Yeah.
Other municipalities have gone long-term.
And I want to just, again, drill down for everybody too. The concept behind having him here this evening is to, A, give you some generic education. But the other part to it is the local law is for us to go anywhere next, the local law needs to be passed. The local law does not commit us to doing this either, though. Okay, so a lot of times I think you hear local law and you think, well, if you pass a local law, the law is that we're moving in this direction. No, all it does is it opens us up to the opportunity for him to make a formal bid, proposal, and presentation and stuff like that through the Public Service Commission process. Okay?
This is not a contract whatsoever.
Right. So part of the other reason that I bring that to your attention is in speaking with Shazy and Beekman Town and Schuyler Falls and a couple other ones, we're trying to do this around the same time too, because we want citizens in our county to be universally educated. So when they're putting something in the newspaper, or the ad is going out on the TV, or what have you, or if you're researching and you're like, wow, I really like this, okay? You talk to your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your nephew, that type of thing. Or if they research something and they go, there's something shady about this, that then they can share it. So all of our communities are starting to learn about it at the same time. I can't guarantee that all the towns are going to universally be able to coordinate that, but the Supervisors Association is doing that though. That's why he's been so good to come up and try to check as many of the boxes and get communities on board, not because it's just good on the travel budget, but it's because but the supervisors have made that commitment because we want to learn things. The more eyes that are on it, the more eyes that are observing and hearing questions through that public comment. Because if someone asks a question in Beekman Town, that same question is going to apply to this community. See what I mean?
Yep.
Sure. So.
One question, like, now, this would be a local law for the town of Plattsburgh. I'm just out of curiosity, it's all done by town as opposed to county?
Counties aren't allowed to do it, because
Okay.
only towns, cities, and villages have jurisdiction over residents.
Okay.
Counties do not. So
Okay.
they're not, but New Jersey, Illinois, they're allowed to do it, New York State, they're not allowed to do it.
Okay. And has any other town in Clinton County passed a local law that you're aware of?
Chazy.
Chazy. Is that the only one?
Yep.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying the rest of us, we're trying to get some of that stuff coordinated and moving forward. I can tell you, I've talked with 2 or 3 of the other
Yeah,
supervisors.
Aikman's
and-
about to move forward,
Yep.
I spoke with them, and, yeah, no, the supervisor and Chazy have been really the people in Clinton County spearheading it.
Yeah.
Where do you get your profit from?
We bring in the companies, they pay us. So whatever company wins it, let's say we have a bid and you have Homefield, Constellation, Talon, one of those, whoever wins it, they pay us for marketing their product.
Okay, so they pay you a certain percentage to,
Our fee is built into that, yes.
okay, so what are your sources of energy?
I mean, right now, I mean, like when we go out, we go out and we purchase energy. You're buying energy off of the NISO, which is the New York Independent System. That's the wholesale, and we're going into there, and
So whatever they're producing,
well, no, I mean, right now, I mean, majority of the energy produced right now in the United States is natural gas generation. That's the primary because it's the cheapest. It's an absolute surplus of natural gas in the market right now. So that's where there's, it's no longer coal, it's no longer fuel oil. Nukes are sort of a dying breed, but that's feeding there. The NISO also is 15% of energy that's coming into the state has to, by law, come from a renewable source. It's coming hydro, wind, solar, wherever it's coming.
but you're going to be buying mostly natural gas.
That's a primary.
And what is that going to do to the incentives for people to change to renewable energy since you're going to be bringing down the costs?
Right now I mean, New York State is very interesting because if you're probably familiar with the date of 2030. So 2030, I mean, right now they're New York. So they have 2 nuke plants right now in the state of New York. You have Fitzpatrick, and then you have Indian Point. They're shutting down, they're decommissioning Indian Point. So that's 20% of a generation that's leaving the state. Where is that energy going to come from? I don't know. I mean, so now they're saying, and they're also bringing in saying right now it's 15% of the grid has to be supplied by green sources. That would be changed to 50% in 12 years. So that I don't know if we're going to make that date. That's.
But when you get your bids, even though this green is supposed to go up to 50%, the lower price is going to be natural gas at the present time.
At the
and
present
in the near
time.
future. So unless there's a tax on it, we're stymieing the growth of.
No, not at all. I mean, in other municipalities, what we've done, you can make this as green as you'd like. I don't know your exact environmental standards here, but we've made townships. I mean, we have Woodbury, New Jersey. That's 300,000 people. That's 100% green. Like you can put renewable certificates onto you can blend it in. You can buy. We can tailor it to however you would like. We can have 50% natural gas generation, and then the other 50% has to come from wind or solar. We can do it any way you like. We've tailored bids just like that. I mean, I have that. If you go back into here, I mean, the Worldwide Federation, like did 90 of the cleanest communities in America. 60 of them come through us. So this is like, we've done this in all these different cities. We'll put a REC and we'll blend it in with the renewable energy certificate. You could buy 100% localized RECs, which is a fortune. They're New York State certified, or very expensive. If you want to get the EPA recognition, I would encourage you to buy wind RECs from Iowa. They're dirt cheap. And then you can sort of build back to New York. We can tailor this in any way you would like on how much you want green power to be put into that. I mean, it's just right now, it's just like, when we go to different municipalities, down in Westchester, Sustainable Westchester, they're very green. I mean, we bought a lot of, tremendous amount of green power. Then we go up to the Catskills, it's not a priority to them. They have no money. You know, going green is, I love it, I think it's great, you know. I'm a big outdoorsman, you know, I love
It's
sustainability.
not that, it's the future of the world.
I understand that. It's also, there's certain communities that just have no money. And going green costs money.
It's a cost that everybody has to bear.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It's just what's available in the market space, like, to bring in energy.
But you know, Tom, I mean, we obviously have a designation through NYSERDA as a clean energy community. We're doing a number of things that I think are really leading, you know, in the county, which is exciting. What my general perspective is, I would like to see us pass the local law, and I want to see what the options are. I don't want to be in a position and say, I only want this right now, because if we turn around, you know, and it actually, in a wide spin out, I shared that report, the Alice Project, for instance, that the United Way is doing, and for you, with the Alice Project is basically what they're looking at is federal guidelines for income and poverty levels and stuff like that, and then they drill it down to the local level, okay? $200 in a year, from my perception, may not seem like a lot, but for certain households, that's a
lot of money.
huge amount of money.
A lot of money.
A huge amount of money.
Yep.
Because while we might be able to save $200 there, and while that particular energy may not be the greenest, what our town can do though, is through other instruments and opportunities, continue to promote green and sustainable opportunities, while that continues to develop in a further track. I think that we have to do things in concert with one another to look at cost savings and values. But I think that there may be a match somewhere along the way. You know, I probably not 100%, but there may be, you know, 3% out of the total package, for instance.
So also, Supervisor, there's like, you know, we went into Brookline, Massachusetts, right outside of Boston. We do their community choice irrigation. Again, a very green community, very residential and everything, and like they hammered us down, and then the price started to really increase. So we said, we can go as green as you would like, and then until the other communities started to push back. And what you can do here in the state of New York, they call it opting up. And again, we can do it individually. We can do half the town. We can do a quarter. When we bid this out, we're going to come in with a flat price. Then if you out of your request, you say, let's throw in 25%, let's throw in 50%, and we can scale it down, and we'll show you exactly. The energy companies, you know, we'll tell them what to do. We say, all right, we want to blend in more sustainable energy in there. Sure, and we'll show you exactly what it costs. RECs are insanely cheap to get recognized by EPA and stuff like that. It's very easy. It's very cheap. New York certified, the price goes up. It's just there's not a lot of green energy in the state of New York. There's a tremendous amount in the Midwest that we can bring in. So we can definitely do it. And even if you whatever you agree upon, an individual can do it on their own, and we can supply all that.
Does the local law doesn't require us to make that decision to pass the
No.
local law, right?
No.
Correct? That gets the ball rolling, then we make the decision for that.
Yeah, what is the timeline? Say we pass the local law, say it's passed tomorrow,
Okay.
then what happens?
Okay, pass the local law to me, and then we have to come up here and give a public hearing on it.
Yeah, right.
Like, local, now we're off to the races. Going forward, then we have to have 60 days of outreach. So every, you know, like I was saying, we have to create a mailer. It's got to be advertised in the paper. There's got to be, you know, radio, cable, everything else. You know, certain, again, this is some of our marketing material.
So
What
is
we've
it-
done in other municipalities. I don't know if you have billboards here. We can do that.
This is beneficial to everybody in the community, not just the town?
Is it residential and commercial?
Yeah.
Well, that's it's done by small rate classes. So a home is a small rate classes. But yes, Main Street can benefit off of this. So I mean, not large. Those are big accounts.
And-
They're already doing it. Anyone who's paying, you know, 50, 80,000, they're already on a contract. They're not going to
But a small business.
a barber shop, a restaurant, a pub.
Yeah.
This will help out Main Street.
Yeah. some of the pizza joints, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking, the little
The
one.
little restaurants or
Yeah.
diners.
I mean, energy is, I mean, it's a common good. I mean, it's just like water. You know, if you come together and you buy it together, you're gonna have a tremendous amount of leverage over the utility, over everything. You are now, you have a massive voice in the energy world. I mean, you now have, you know, $80 million of power saying, no, we're in charge now.
Now, once we pass the local law, I mean, and you do this other thing, do you have any competition? I mean, how does that work?
No, we become the administrator for the
town.
program. And again, we have to advertise this whole thing. Then our whole thing is we're going to be searching around for green power, all these different energy sources. And we have to create a strike price. We're going to say, we're not going to come here with a deal that is, risky. We don't want to see something that is 5%, 6%. It's got to be a substantial number that's saying, okay, what if a massive polar vortex comes, with some, it's a fixed cost price. So that price is locked. And going back to exactly what you were saying, Supervisor, is, $200 is, no, it's not going to bring the family to Florida. But like, if there is a person who is on fixed income, and, we had a very long winter this year. So, a polar vortex coming through, that price of power goes through the roof. And a person who's paying that bill and saying, I now cannot afford my energy bill because I'm on a fixed income, I only pay this on groceries, I pay this on my car, and I pay this on energy. Well, now, my housing, I can't afford that because my energy is up to here. And this will be a fixed cost. It will not go up, it will not go down, it's fixed.
What was the savings that Westchester County had?
They went with 12%.
With all green?
Yeah, we blended, I think, certain townships when, I think the highest we got was 95%, other townships did like 27%.
Did you say Westchester County?
Well, you have White Plains, New Rochelle,
So it was
Pleasantville.
a bunch of towns within the county?
Yes, yeah, there was 17, there were 17 municipalities in Westchester County did this program.
Can you come to us, can you bring us different packages so we can see what
Yeah.
different percentages look like?
Yep.
Michael, is it pragmatic, you'd be able to get the other supervisors to establish a local law? I mean,
We are,
more than just us?
yeah, we are actively looking at this, and I'll be quite frank. A couple of the town supervisors have said, we often go the way of the town of Plattsburgh.
Yep.
Okay,
I've done that
because,
several times.
yeah, and largely because we meet weekly, okay? Some of the towns don't meet weekly. Some of the towns, they just don't have the professional staff that we do, where we kind of bounce some additional ideas out. But, I can honestly say, this item, along with the shared services topic, with the Clinton County Supervisors Association, has been one of the most active conversations that we've had since I've been a supervisor. And people are really intrigued by this. The folks on fixed income is one of the main motivators to see some of that relief and stuff like that. So I was very happy to see Shazy step up. Like I said, I've been talking with Beekmantown, been talking with Schuyler Falls.
Yeah, I was just with them 2 weeks ago. And
Where's Champlain? I know that you.
I met with them, and then the second time I was here last time,
Yeah.
I spoke to them, they said they wanted to move forward, they want me to come back up.
Yeah.
It's summertime, so it's just,
Yeah.
people's
So,
schedules.
but that's what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of us are, and if the general sentiment from this board is that you think you're going to support at least a local law, I'm going to start working the phones and just tell people, hey, join us and get the local laws passed. Again, it doesn't commit us to making the final, long-term commitment.
Yeah.
But then let's start exploring this and learning,
Yeah,
together.
I mean, again, our job is to, get you, I just don't know what this, okay, what's your savings? I'm like, I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can do this on your own, you're big enough.
Yeah.
And let's say you get 12%. Bring in Schuyler Falls, bring in Champlain, bring in Chazy, now you get 15%. It's like, obviously it's a numbers.
Do we all have to commit to the same percentage?
No, I mean,
of
like,
where
no,
our
you might
energy
be,
comes from?
the terms could be different,
Okay.
yeah.
I have another question.
Sure.
What's the incentive for New York State and AOT and NICOM beyond consumer savings?
The incentive. I mean, what this does is, this is all part of REV, which is a reform of the energy vision, so the governor's doing it. So this is obviously this is very endorsed by NYSERDA, this is very, by Albany. They all love this program. Have you seen this? This is the NYSERDA pamphlet that they pass around. Brad Tito runs NYSERDA with John Rose. They're promoting utilities like this because New York City is on a day-ahead market. It's a scheduled market. Like there's two different, when you buy power, there's two different ways you buy power. Real time and day ahead. Real time is, if not the most scariest thing in the world, because you're buying, people at factories sometimes do real time because they're buying power at 3 o'clock in the morning. They have 3 shifts. They're gonna use machinery at 3 o'clock in the morning. Power is at 3 cents. So they do real time. So they save tremendously on that. Like a day ahead market where literally 95% of the community, or really the world, they do it. It's a scheduled market. So, we're looking at weather patterns. So, we see, it's hot in Chicago. We're a big population. It's going to hit New York in 24 hours. We're going to buy a lot of extra power because we're going to watch the grid go like this. If we're going to be using air conditioning units, it's that type. So with this, you're doing big blocks of power. Utilities have more control over it, so they like that. So they know exactly what to buy instead of we think the power is going to be here and then it goes up to here. And then you hear that there's several, they call them peaking plants around the state. And once the utility comes short, they got to fire up a peaking plant, which is an absolute fortune to the consumer. And that's when you see these big peaks go up. So this helps that. It's an incentive to bring in other, which is I think the future going forward, is you're bringing in, they call it DE, or distributed energy resources. So you're going to be seeing, it's really going around the state, like microgrids. Like communities are bringing in their own generation. We do a bunch of data centers. They're the biggest consumer of power out there. I mean, it's crazy the amount of power they do. So as an investment banker or something, that they go and say, they see if a data center goes down, so their data goes away, they're broke. So they say the number one thing is, where does that energy come? What comes from the utility? Too risky. So now the data center is their primary power is a microgrid, then the default is the utility. And you're seeing a lot of utilities, or municipalities are starting growing that. Especially downstate is because of Sandy, the federal government brought in a lot of grants and everything. So you're seeing a lot of Long Island towns, New Jersey, they're building these microgrid systems. And I see that sort of moving in that direction in 20 years or something. It's happening all over. But.
Does this local law cover both the commercial and the private
Yes,
citizen?
I mean, no. I mean, the local laws for CCA, this is, you're already on contract, so if you're happy with whatever service you're getting, stay with it. This is, if you want me to handle your municipality type stuff, I mean, what is that?
So each business then would decide, and then each individual resident would decide whether they're going to participate?
No. This, when the program goes, it's the way New York State, the way the law is written, it's an opt-out program. So the residents are automatically in the program. If a business wants to come into the program, that's an opt-in program.
They have to opt in. They don't automatically.
The businesses do not. They have to opt in, correct.
But they're going to do, seriously, I'm glad you invoked NYMER because I went to their annual meeting this year, and part of the reason was I wanted to kind of see how things were being interconnected between that model and what is now being used here. You folks were a topic of conversation by some of the towns and villages and stuff. And I think NYMER is a really great proven model of how AOT and ICOM have come together to acknowledge the fact that the local smaller municipalities, some of the larger ones too, obviously Buffalo and Syracuse and stuff, but government needs to start looking at doing some things differently. The energy market is changing rapidly. I jokingly say that I used to watch Star Trek with my grandmother at night when I was a kid. And I didn't say what age I was. But the fact of the matter is, though, we often refer to things as smartphones, You know, they're really computers. That's what they should be called. Technology is rapidly changing generation to generation. Even the green technology that you're concerned about, Tom, I get it, I do. But it's not gonna prevent people from still doing solar if they wanna do it. It's not gonna prevent future, evolutions in various technology. But I think we have a fiscal responsibility to look at what we can potentially offer to our residents. We're not making a commitment yet. What we're doing is we're saying, yeah, we wanna know more. And
And just one question to build off Tom's concern just a little bit. The power that I get to my house today, I don't know if you're gonna be able to answer this or not. We know it has to be 15% green.
Coming out of these light bulbs right here, that's being purchased, it's coming out of the NISO.
Okay.
So, the electrons going into there,
Mhm.
I don't know where they came from. But but NISO says to me, 15% of their load is coming from a renewable source.
Okay, so we're getting the 15% right now.
Yeah, the entire state is getting 50%. This actual town person is probably getting 2%, 1%, whatever the state load is, which
But
is
this may give us the opportunity to make the community better from that.
100%. Oh, yeah.
So I see this as twofold. Number one, we're gonna be able to offer, obviously, what appears to be a substantial cost savings to our constituents, along with the possibility of taking it beyond that 15%, if that's the way we negotiate it.
And then you can grow on the program.
So it kind of puts it in our control versus being controlled by NYSEG now, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the other, the state does give you a financial incentive. Every year NYSERDA comes out with a 250,000 grant, and like there's 10 benchmarks you probably know about. This is one of them.
We've achieved that.
Okay, so congratulations.
Yeah.
That's big. Not a lot of people have it. You obviously you got your grant money, so
Yeah.
Well,
that's
she
great.
did a lot of work.
We just got an electric car yesterday.
Oh, really?
It's a hybrid.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
as part of the grant.
So this
Oh, nice to
is
see you.
one of the programs that if you do this, you get X amount of points.
Let me ask this, say everybody or most people of New York State Gas and Electric, you pass a local law, you say it's opt-out, but just how does that work? What are the mechanics?
Okay, so the program starts, we advertise it to every single person out there, people come in here and they think, you have to think this is a Costco type purchase, buy in bulk, get a discount.
Yeah.
And obviously, maybe you do, I don't make my utility bill. Some people, they're not gonna be like, wait, what? And then you have 30 days to opt out. If you don't want to participate in this and you say, I don't like this, I'm happy with NYSEG, I don't like government, I don't like energy, stay away from me. Okay, so
But if I do nothing,
if you do nothing, you're in the program.
okay.
You have to make the initiative saying, I do not want to be a part of this. Let's say it's now 60 days down the road, and you then find out, are we doing this program? And they find out they're in the program, and they feel like they're pushed into this. They want out, they're out. There's no contract.
Yeah.
So those that are selling your power back to NYSEG, what happens to them?
They're still doing that. It's no one's really 100% off the grid. There's certain people
Some
like,
people are. Our town planner is.
is it?
Yeah.
I guess, let me check that box.
You had to go all around the state to find the one guy.
Yeah, so he's the guy, but even like that, if he's 100%, I'm not gonna get his information. I'm not gonna even know who he is.
School on a
He-
diesel bus. But his daughter rides an hour and a half to school on a diesel bus, so.
So it's, anyone who is on they have the reverse meter, they have a wind turbine, they have solar, they're getting that credit, they're still gonna get the credit. It's the other half that they're using from NYSEG, that's gonna be subsidized.
One question that, I hate people bring up their personal situation, but
But I'm going to.
never holds me back. We just, we got something from NYSEG the other day, and they're
Yeah.
saying if you want to go to have a set rate or something, and we check the block and send it in.
Well, the utility can't give you a fixed rate,
They
Well,
do.
they can't.
And you're like,
The utilities, it's illegal for them to.
yeah. So, have you
It's
ever heard of that, or is that?
I've heard people scams, saying like, hey, I work for the New York State.
Oh, no, no, this
utility
is something nicer. I didn't,
They're
I'll
just
say.
giving you options.
It's amazing what I can do on my printer, Jim.
Jim, was that, that you get a certain charge, the same charge every month?
I'm not sure, like I said, reading those
Because
bills.
there's some kind of
sort
a
is,
budget plan or
The
something.
attorney,
The other
the
stuff,
attorney
like,
needs
the
to.
utility is like, in New York State,
He's
it's
an
not allowed
attorney,
to
what
be-
the hell does he know?
Yeah, utilities
Who would've thought
not allowed
about that
to
he would've
do,
got caught up in the
fixed-
phishing scam?
A fixed supply cost, they're not allowed to give.
But they do have some kind of a budget plan,
Yes.
so
Well,
they can.
One of the
give you-
budget plan, I'll take a look, it was something. It was something when they, said, said that you want to do something, I mean.
Email it to me, I'll get,
All right.
I mean, like, I'm in an office of,
Market price.
50 people, I can answer that question in 2 seconds.
So
Right.
Ed, AOT and NICOM, is it just electricity and natural gas that negotiate the lower energy prices, or opening it up to the other renewable sources of energy, that sort of thing?
If it's energy, I mean,
They'll
it's all, it
negotiate.
covers the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
May I see the nicer flyer?
It's on the webpage.
And Ed, you had mentioned 18 to 24 months for the.
Yeah, we're gonna, I mean, I'm
period.
just giving,
But that-
you know,
We
calendar.
determine that though, correct?
I'm gonna come in here and say, okay, all right, I got 10% savings on 24 months. And I'm gonna say, okay, then I got 12% savings on 24. Whoa, but look what I got on the 26. I got an extra 15%, so like, it's gonna be, I'm gonna go into the futures market and like, I'm gonna look, I could have a 19 month. I could be, but for mental 24, 20, that's like, but, it could be off.
But we're the ones that are gonna make that decision.
Oh, yes,
Based on,
yes,
based
yes.
on what you present or what you have available
Yep.
at that time.
Yeah, exactly. It's what the market is at that time period and
So-
say,
Every individual municipality, village, whatever, are gonna be making an individual decision on that.
well, we're gonna try to do a large buying group together. That's our objective. So we want Plattsburgh, Chazy, Beacon all to come together as one. It's gonna be individual contracts, yes. It's gonna be, Plattsburgh, you're gonna be on your own. You're not gonna be part of Chazy. They have their own set
Okay,
of
so
laws.
we'll have a contract, but residents won't.
You're gonna agree to the terms, correct, yes. Like, you're not on the hook for anything. So let's say if I have I lock everyone up and all of a sudden, for some bizarre reason, it's a total liquidation and it's never happened. 90% of the community leaves. I'm on the hook for that. That's my risk. You're not at risk at all. The town's not, there is no risk with the tenant. I mean, you're endorsing the program, but it actually, when it comes down to it, it's a total of 1% my risk. This is not this is a deal with the residents. This is not a deal with the municipality. All you're doing is you're endorsing the program, and you're saying, we've agreed saying this is, really, but there's no risk to the municipality.
I can tell you, Tom, that from the Supervisors Association, we as a group have considered endorsing it as a Supervisors Association. Okay? Even with some of the supervisors that just aren't sure if their town is prepared to go through all the mechanisms for, whatever reason, again, staffing and, just other projects and things in the hopper and stuff like that. So, again, the more that we can communicate with these other towns that are maybe looking at what our town are doing, that might inspire them by example and say, hey, yeah, we want to at least see
Is
what's
it a
out there.
one-shot deal? You could get all these people together, or say another town could come in later?
Well, it's I was going to say something first, then I'll answer that question. But the first thing, when we go out and you pass the local law, we have the 60 days to go out and inform the general public about everything like that. Those are tremendous amount of marketing dollars. So we're going to be going in your local power, paper, on cable, radio, advertising. That costs a tremendous amount of money. We pay for all of that. The town hall does not pay a dime on this. I mean, we might have to use the attorney for a little bit of this and that, but it's down to practically nothing. You don't pay for anything. That's our risk. So we're coming in here and we were going to be paying for all of that.
So since you've advertised all over, if somebody else decides, oh yeah, that's a good idea, they could opt in, that hasn't passed the local law yet and passes it later?
I'm confused. So we pass the local, and then we have the program, and if someone wants to opt in, yeah, they can opt in at any time.
You're saying like another
He's saying-
town, if we
yeah.
do it Plattsburgh,
Well,
Scout
Michael
Falls does it,
said
but
that
maybe
he
the
has
town
his
doesn't.
supervisors, but say some town didn't, but then they get all this.
No, like we would have to do another, well, it depends. I mean, it really depends, like, again, it's like EDF. I mean, that's the largest utility in the world.
Yeah.
And if they want to absorb that, they want market share in this territory, they'll do it. Certain, maybe Constellation. I mean, that's a $125 billion corporation. Like, I mean, they'll do it. I mean, they want market share. These energy companies want market share. So, like, if the market's there, they'll do it. If it's not, no, they're gonna say do another bid. They missed their opportunity. I mean, we've had like opportunities like the supervisor has heard this story, but we do this we're extreme. We are the biggest in Illinois, the biggest in Massachusetts. New Jersey is a lot of communities are doing this, but the markets it's not there. It's sort of like almost a match. Like Woodbridge is doing it. It's one of the largest communities doing it. Jersey City went through a little.
What about, I'm just curious, not to interrupt, what about New York City?
Who's doing it? Only Westchester County is doing it right now. So you have White Plains, New Rochelle,
No,
Pleasantville.
I'm just curious, why wouldn't New York City be,
We're in talks with them right now.
oh, that it seemed to be a pretty big customer.
That's a big one. Like we had Chicago for a little, and that didn't work out too well. Like a lot of people just wasn't. We have Aurora. You know, that's the second largest municipality in Illinois. It's 130,000. But the story I had was when we were in New Jersey, the mayor down there is a guy named Dave Mayer, and it was Mayor.
Oh, wow.
And when you approached him, and and he was it's a Gloucester, New Jersey, and it's another reference. If you want to talk to any of my references, I can supply that as well. But Dave Mayer, when he said that we had 5%, he said, let's do it. I said, that's too risky. We don't want to do that. We don't think it's good and everything else. And he said, really? Come on, I think it's good. I said, no. We want to get a better savings. We think it's too much risk. He passed a local law. He had it on the books, so we didn't transact anything. The market had a big dip. We got into that 12% savings river, and he literally pulled it off the shelf, and we did it. The next morning, we had a deal, and we got a 12% savings. It's because he had that law on the books that we could transact so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
makes sense.
Again, it's I want to convince you, this is not a contract. All it is, it's a chicken or the egg type deal I'm bringing here, is I want to do something with you, but I can't because public service, I have to have the local law in hand, submit that to the utility and Public Service Commission. They say, all right, now you have permission to go look at data. And when I'm looking at data, it's, I'm not looking at credit card information, I'm not even getting names, I'm looking at load profile of what the town is doing. The way you purchase energy is completely different from really everywhere. Everyone has their own little like thumbprint on how they burn power. And I have to learn that, and without getting that education, I need that.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Ed.
Good.
Devin, do you have any questions? Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
right.
Thank you for traveling up here.
Can I just, I'd like to ask kind of a straw poll, we won't hold this, you folks to it, but as Ed and I continue to have some dialogue on behalf of the town and also trying to nurture, this conversation in the other towns, are people generally interested in at least going to that first step of passing the local law to learn more?
Yeah, we're not locked in,
Yes.
and
Okay, so I wanted you to know that, Ed, so that.
Assuming our lawyer
Yeah.
reads the
Yeah,
contract.
right.
and says-
You do want to keep this around?
I
You're gonna have to read these things, Tom?
Yes,
It's
I
all
want you to read them.
online.
You don't read your utility bills, so I want you to read this.
Yeah, utility bills are hard to read.
Hold on for what, I just,
Who are your competitors?
I
I don't mean to be mean, but.
No.
It sounds wonderful, so I'm assuming other people are trying to do the same thing.
Well, there's you have Jewel Assets that's trying to do this. We were in partnership with them, and we were the lead advisor, and they work for the city. We've parted ways with them. They're more of a demand response company. They're not really a worker consultant, or what we are. So they wanted to ride our coattails, and we said, they have one deal. We have literally 1,000. I mean, in the state of Illinois, it was a referendum. So it was there was a ballot initiative. So we literally took the whole entire company out there and did, put signs in people's lawns and everything all around the state. And, we have 300+ municipalities there. We've done the same in Massachusetts, doing the same in, we're in Ohio, we're in Rhode Island, we're all over. So they wanted to ride our coattails, we said enough's enough, goodbye. So you can
So
look
that's
at
kind of
that.
it
Yeah, and
for
then
the time being.
Mega has tried to do something, they've never done a deal. And their CEO just retired. So they're a small shop. I think they're 10 people, we're over 100. I don't know if you're ever downstate, if you're ever in New York City, I really would really welcome you and encourage you to stop by our office and see, we're 37th and Madison Avenue, very big office, or if you're in Boston or anything else, please check us out, look us out on the internet.
That's probably in here, right?
My
Yep.
address, yeah, it's right there, it's right in my
It's
business
on his
card too.
business card too.
I would really, really encourage you to, on my business card, to look up the NIMAP webpage, and on there, there is it shows you there's 50 FAQ questions, what we've been asked. They are so informative, you go onto it, and there's a drop-down box, and it says, hey, what about this situation? What about that situation? It's very, very informative.
There's a good, I think it's still there, like a YouTube video too.
That's yes.
That really kind of, it kind of is a visual drawing and stuff like that. It's a really good snapshot of how it works and so on and so forth, so.
Can I get an extra copy?
Of this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice? I really appreciate it. We'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch.
Safe travels.
Yes, thank you.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Are you headed back to New York City?
You stay overnight? Okay, good. Safe travels.
All right.
And then I have to go I have to be in Ottawa.
Oh, for you.
Oh, geez.
No, I had to go to Ogdenburg.
Ogdenburg, yeah,
So, like,
okay. And then go to Ottawa.
I said, how do I get there? He said,
Does he have to go to
He's going to
Ogdensburg?
Ogdensburg.
Here?
Because you can go to Ottawa through via Malone and over
Yeah,
across the
he's
bridge
going to
there at
Ogdensburg
Cornwall.
first. All right.
There's no easy way either.
Yeah, there is.
It's really, it's like, because I'm meeting Canton, Ogdenburg, Potsdam, and Hopesville? Hope something?
Oh.
Hopkinsville, yeah. So I'm be there next.
Have a good time there.
Go to
Yeah, I've been there. It's really a swimming town.
Eight
You've covered
people.
1 miles.
Big purchasing power up there.
Well, Ottawa's nice though.
Yeah.
It's nice
The
city,
small
really.
fish bring the big fish.
Yes?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
We learned that in Syracuse. Yeah, basically, this is when Mayor Minor was there. She said, go out and find 5 people, they'll do it. And that's what we did. We got 10 people.
Great.
So we have Manoa, Fayetteville, Cicero, all those towns
yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
they said, she's there, they'll come on board. So,
All right.
all right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Safe travels,
Thank you
Ed.
very much, and, yeah, safe travels.
Happy sailing.
All right, we're in on track. We've got draft minutes, monthly report, request from emergency management, street name removal. It's hard to believe again, some salt for highway and street light. There was an assessment done by Rick for an individual. There's the extension for the 2 million gallon.
What's that, on that extension? Is that the cost of the town to put up the pole and all that stuff?
No, that's for the 2 million gallon storage tank.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. I was on something else.
The street light.
Right, it was health and safety that Rick did the assessment on it. So it's an individual, I believe, with disabling conditions is what it was, why he put it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why we're extending it 91 days?
Are you talking about the
What are you
street?
looking at?
I don't know which one you're on.
I'm not talking about the right thing.
The 90-day extension is to allow for, you're on the storage tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no problem with that. It's just, as we continue to move these projects forward, keeping them within a time frame for construction and optimizing mobilization and such.
That's why we're,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So
Okay.
it's not costing us more money because we're postponing it then.
The Water Advisory Committee, let me get to that one. We are at a point where there were a number of vacancies with the changeover, and now that we're back into kind of another phase. We want to make sure that we get everybody realigned, get a meeting going. We did make some changes and some recommendations. Meg will be taking over for Marty. Mike Zerlo, a Clinton County government rep. Wayne Silver was recommended by Scott. Scott Ewing was recommended by Chuck and Eric Day, Emergency Management Services. So moving forward on that. So the
Who stepped away from the county government?
we didn't have a government entity. So we still have other members on this board. These are just the new additions.
Okay.
So, for example, John Canoza from the Health Department is still on it, but we didn't put him in this resolution, just to keep it
Okay, I
as the
see.
new people. Okay?
So this authorizing the shared service agreement, is that all the information is here on that?
Okay.
Where are you, Tom?
What is going on, Tom?
Now,
Tom is really
let me,
moving along.
let me make sure
Well,
that,
I read all the stuff on the computer, I read this, and I don't see I didn't see any of the supporting documentation.
okay, hold on. I wasn't even there yet, that's why I'm
Okay.
confused as to where you're going. We have the water committee members, I just want to make sure I'm staying on track here.
Yeah.
3% construction deposit for pro-tech site plan, the intermunicipal agreement for jointly purchased paper. Jim has worked on this. Let's see if this is here. We are still drafting out for referral. See, you got me all over the place. That was the updated add-ons that I gave you. Tom, do you have the authorized highway superintendent to enter into a shared service agreement between Town of Plattsburgh, Beekman Town, Schuyler Falls? Do you have that?
Yep, got them, got them down.
Yeah.
You got
So-
all the documentation right here.
Yeah. it's all-
So, just so that everybody understands what we're doing, the general premise of this is we passed the resolution that authorized the new purchase of the paper. As I said before, our intention was, we needed a paper anyways, okay? Tim and I had direct conversations with both the highway superintendents and the supervisors of Beekman Town and Schuyler Falls. Both of them have endorsed the concept of doing basically a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, okay? Hopefully it works better than the city, anyways. And we believe that their boards will adopt that as well, okay? So it's approximately $20,000 that each one of us will then hold on to. The equipment will stay here at the town, and then we will coordinate as we have done previous. Everything else that we've already been doing, we have been doing the shared service. The shared service portion is not new.
Yeah.
This codifies it in a way, though, where we're actually getting a financial support for a piece of equipment that we weren't receiving at that level before. So, in essence,
We footed the bill on it.
yes, yes.
This way
We
you're
own
done.
the paper and fixed it.
Correct.
Yep.
So, and that's why
Yep.
there's a, when there's a change, and it's not the finger wag in the past, but Tim and I had that conversation, and it was, how do you codify something a little bit different with the agreements that were already there, modify it a little bit differently, and I believe Schuyler Falls and Beekman Town both have their meetings next Monday, so that I anticipate that they will adopt this on Monday, we will adopt ours on Thursday, and then what we will do is probably by Friday of next week, we'll put out a bill to those towns, and we'll begin to get the reimbursement.
Yep.
I mean, for government, this has worked.
This is a very good idea. First of all, it cuts our investment by 2/3. And we're gonna keep it here, and I put in the agreement that any of the maintenance
I was
costs.
gonna say, normal
Yeah,
repair.
everybody's got to
It's
pay
in
their
the
Yeah,
agreement, which I think
Probably
is,
split 3 ways instead of 1 way.
Yeah.
that's terrific.
Yeah.
No, it
And
is.
and not only that, it's smart. Why have, we don't pave every day.
No,
They don't pay
in the same,
every day.
in the same with the other two municipalities.
No,
So
but
it
But
only
generally
makes
speaking though,
sense.
when we pave, don't we add trucks to the others, or they have
Yeah,
trucks of
yes,
ours? or
we're-
what?
there,
They
but all the other elements for the shared services that we're doing
Are still the same.
will still be involved in this process. What this does is it makes the most out of the piece of equipment that is being shared, which then becomes a model for other elements. The one piece that I will give is, well, someone will say, well, if you had gone to 4 towns, you could have obviously saved even more money. You get to a point though, okay, that if you shared one piece of equipment with every town in the county,
Nobody gets it done.
nobody gets it done.
Law of diminishing
You know,
returns.
and, you know, the hours that get logged on the equipment and all these other things. So we're very strategically working to craft a new model or to revise a model that's been there and to benefit where we can.
I think this
So-
3 is pretty much optimal.
Yeah.
So they'll use this.
Sounds good to me.
So let's hypothetically say, we want to pay from 1st of July to 15th of July. So our dudes will go out and
Yep.
they'll lay pavement. Then they say, we want to, Beavertown says, we want to pay from the 15th to the 30th. So they come and get the machine and they lay their own pavement, but we back them up with the asphalt.
Don't
like
we
they do
provide a
with us.
driver?
We will be involved with their paving like we have been previously, okay? So typically, what we have done in the past, and I don't want to speak directly for the highway
Well, that's
department, but we will have people on site, depending truck or on the actual paver itself. So all the other mechanisms will stay the same. And the other part to it is, once you have something like this, it becomes that much more easier as we go to the next item, you know, like a loader. I mean, I don't want to say that we're gonna do it for a loader, but then we can say, hey, maybe it's Beekman Town that's about to buy a piece of equipment that we've needed, and then, you know, we put in 20 grand and they put 20 grand and they, you know, so I think this is really gonna be helpful.
And on the paving, we have in the contract, you have to schedule, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
You have to
duh.
say August.
yeah, and we're doing that, and we're
Which is
doing
what
that
they're
now.
kind of doing now. Yeah, when I talked to Tim about it, he was very happy with the 2 towns that were involved.
Yeah.
The big thing with him was travel time with the trucks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Getting the guys there, getting the equipment there.
Yeah.
He thought that was the best route to go
Yeah.
with the 2 neighboring towns.
It
He really
also
felt that was best.
Cover repairs.
That's what we said, normal
Oh, yeah.
maintenance and repairs.
Yeah, that's in the agreement.
That-
yeah,
that's
So I think
great,
it's
Jim. I
great.
appreciate
I, the more we can do, the better, as
Oh,
far as
yeah,
I'm
it's
concerned.
great,
Yeah,
great savings.
so this will be before us Thursday. You know, I think it's only fair to put the verbal asterisk out there, though. Could this go to either one of their boards on Monday and they go, I don't know about it? Yeah, it could. I feel pretty good about it. I'm, as Meg loves his phrase, cautiously optimistic. And, you know, and worst thing that happens is it doesn't, and then we have to, you know, have some more conversation, but,
Well, not like we're buying a $3 million piece of
Right.
equipment either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's kind of an expensive car.
okay. A couple other quick things, they were add-ons to your packet. 3% site plan return deposit, nothing over the top there. This last item, so again, trying to be looking at the bottom dollar, you know, or the bottom line, is we are currently using a space from the county for cold storage, okay? And that building is going to be taken down in the near future.
What does that mean, cold storage?
Basically, it's a non-heated building. So basically, it's like a pole barn, but it's not a pole barn, and it's just a larger building that they're putting loaders and
It's out of the weather,
lawnmowers.
takes all the equipment out of the
Where
weather.
is it?
Yes.
That's a,
You know what I'm for?
Yep. So basically, the county will be getting rid of the building. That building obviously has a certain value to it. What we would like to do is we have begun a conversation with the county, can we get the building? Okay? Tim has already expressed, and Jim did earlier, that because that building's going away, could he have all the equipment out in the yard? We could for a short period of time, but we don't want to do it long-term. So this will allow us to make an assessment, could we decommission that building, bring it over here, and reconstruct it, meeting though the new codes of snow load, so on and so forth. The other benefit to this though is if the assessment is conducted and saying that building is not what we need, we will get a report that will help us better direct us with the type of building that we do need, okay? So, we were really trying to go through and find, you know, could we do like a pole barn like this out back? The pole barn that we have out in the back now, you really wouldn't be able to build today. The codes and the standards really have changed pretty significantly. So if we can get this building, maybe we have to add a couple footers, maybe we have to put a couple of additional support beams in it. But we could either be on par with what we had anticipated our cost, or get it at a reduced rate that we could save some money. So the assessment is the first thing that we need to do. Trevor, to his credit, reached out to AEDA, sorry, and one other group that kind of special in this particular arena. This one was $5,000, the other one was at about $13,000. Pretty big swing. He felt in his recommendation that this would be the most appropriate for what we really need to do, because we're doing assessment, recommendation, and we would still have to do some engineering if we were to take the building and stuff. So, you know, $5 isn't, you know, money to sneeze at.
$5?
5,000?
5,000.
What's the zero between friends?
With a few zeros.
Yeah, Michael, the only thing, again,
Yep.
it's not challenging, is that it's a little bit more than when I had my initial conversation with Trevor. It's a little bit more than what was anticipated.
It was, because what they did is they went out and they did a cursory look to say, you know, what really needs to be achieved here. So it was to get, originally, the assessment was, could it be done? But the other part to it is, if the building isn't gonna work,
Right.
you don't wanna just burn money to say the building will or won't work.
No, I understand.
So the idea then is to create some specs to help us make a decision of what do we actually need if we can't make this one work.
Okay.
Is
So
the
like-
county going to charge us?
We don't believe that the county is going to charge us for the building, because it is going to have to be taken down.
They should pay us to take it.
That's looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Or kicking.
If they're willing to,
Yes.
if they're willing to sell it, the county's willing to sell it to us for $1, and we take it down, that's a deal.
So, again, that will be before you folks next week as well, but trying to get on top of it. And I can tell you that that building is, I wouldn't say being fast-tracked now, but I believe they have a purchaser for that parcel coming up. So the building is definitely like on the chopping block sooner rather than later. I am gonna request probably about a 10-minute, hopefully not much longer, executive session to discuss the pending and ongoing litigation with Plattsburgh RV Park. Nothing with the city. Can I get a motion to that effect? Okay, and is there a second?
Seconded.
Hebert. 7:16. Roll call. Thomas?
Yes.
Meg?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
All right, and myself, yes. Okay,
7:15 is that?
7:16. Shouldn't be long, no action to be taken.